Hey everyone, this is Triple Play Fantasy. We are here doing a mock draft to get you ready for the last weekend, to get you ready for fantasy football season. I can't believe we're a week away from the first NFL game, so stay tuned. All right, welcome everybody. I am your host, Zach at FF Chupa Batman. We are joined today by some wonderful people in the fantasy space. Hopefully, you guys can kind of see them. I know our screens are small right now while we're doing a mock draft, but we got Stacy Perez. She's part of Fantasy and Frames, also with me over there. How's it going, Stacy?
It is great. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
We're doing well. Ready to mock it. And then we have Julia Papworth as well. And Julia, can you tell everybody what you're doing now? Because I feel like you're everywhere right now.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when your industry's on strike and you don't have a job. So you really got to dive in. I'm at Fantasy Footballers. I'm doing some stuff for PFN. I write for a great little CrossFit news site, if anyone's into CrossFit, called Morning Chalk Up. So that's great too. And just sort of contributing to a bunch of stuff. That's
awesome.
Doing it. Yeah.
We're excited to have you. We also have Doc here as always, as well as Brad helping us out tonight again. Got the crew. We're missing Joe. He was on vacation last week. He needs a vacation from his vacation. He's just busy catching up. So we will get him on next week as we get you ready for the season. So we're going to get this started. Let me start the mock real quick. All right. So this is a very basic 12-team, half PPR. It's 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. So very standard.
Joey.
You'll see that we have a bunch of robots, if you will, mock drafting. That's just so we can talk strategy and go through all that. So we'll kick it off immediately to Julia. She's the 101. So she's got that early draft strategy. You went chalk with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. You got to. I think Justin. I mean, I've also never had the privilege of owning Justin Jefferson on a team, because I rarely pull a draft spot this early. So might as well. Let's do it. See what it feels like.
We got a comment. This is Joey.
Oh, Joey, I love you.
You know, Julia, I feel you sometimes when you've never rostered a player. You just want to see what you're missing out on.
I know.
All right. So then I think it's actually interesting that the auto picks took Barkley 4th.
Wow.
That would never happen.
No, it feels a little early, but hey, we say it would never happen. We were talking backstage before we came on. In home leagues, you have no idea what's going to happen. So you have to plan for literally anything. And it thinks I'm in this mock. So I guess I will be making pick. Let me see if I can just put myself on.
Zach, to your point about you never know what happens in a home league. In one of our home leagues with Brad, he took Pacheco in the 2nd round. So you're right.
Oh,
exactly.
I might do it again, man. I got the last pick here.
Go crazy. Live on the edge.
See, this is the auto pick of Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, and we will talk Cooper Kupp in a second. Let me see if I can figure out how to auto myself, or can I just not auto?
Zach, you took your RB1 for the year, Nick Chubb.
I know, I had to. I'm on brand. All right, I'll just be making quick picks then. That's fine. We'll have fun with it. All right, so basically we see Chase going. You can see him going second, third. Yeah. I wanted to talk about Tyreek Hill real quick. Do you think he could be the wide receiver 1?
I had him as my wide receiver 2 last year. I think the thing with drafting Tyreek Hill is that you're going to get a lot of very high upside weeks from him. I don't think there is somebody maybe outside Jamar Chase that has the ceiling that he does, and that includes Justin Jefferson, just from the sort of explosive play perspective that we see from him. So 5th pick, I've had 5th, 6th pick in a couple drafts. I've gone Bijan, I've gone Chubb. This is my first time doing Hill, and I just took Garrett Wilson. I want to try out a different strategy here. I want to see what going wide receiver heavy looks like.
To that point, I'll also say
There
that,
we go.
Tyreek Hill also has a great floor too, because we even saw with the backups coming in, he was still getting 10 targets a game pretty much. So he's safe on both ends, and I definitely think he could hit that wide receiver 1 target.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see how I do this here. All right. I mean, okay. We're gonna do that. It's weird having 2 in the same. I'm never on the turn. This is
We're getting you ready for your home league though, because you got the
I
one.
know this is very good. Okay. Let's try this. Okay. That's the thing. It's like we mock to try different strategies, right? So like
Absolutely.
I would have seriously considered Jalen Hurts at that spot just because it's so long. And I was also thinking about, home leagues, like people take those quarterbacks earlier. But let's see what happens here. Let's see who I get.
No, that's perfect because we saw 2 quarterbacks go off in the second. I would say that's probably pretty normal for most home leagues. And you're right. If you wanted a elite quarterback, there's probably a good chance that Hurts or Lamar, maybe even Burrow, isn't making it back to you all the way at the end of the 4th. It's possible, but there is a big risk. So that is something you have to think about. If you have that early pick, if you want an elite QB, you're going to get him at your 3rd round pick. Otherwise, he's probably not getting to you.
A little bit.
Stacy, I thought you were auto pick for how quickly you selected Jalen Hurts.
Well, so I had him there, and I also had another player that hasn't been taken yet there. And I just thought, 3rd round, this late, I just can't pass up that value with Jalen Hurts at that point.
Good pick.
Fair enough.
So I did want to talk about Cooper Kupp real quick before we get too far along. Stacy, how are you treating Cooper Kupp? So for those of you who don't know, he had a flare up, if you will, of his hamstring. He re-aggravated his injury. He's currently day-to-day. That could literally mean he's ready to go in 10 days for the season. That could mean he's not back for a couple weeks. We have no idea. It's too early to call. It's never a good thing to re-aggravate a lower extremity soft tissue injury. So are you hands off Cooper Kupp, Stacy, or are you still trying to get value on him?
Soft tissue injuries scare me, and especially on receivers that have a little bit of age on them. And it just makes me really nervous, especially, I know, like Joey just said, it's impacting his soft part. Yeah, I love Cooper Kupp. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I had my best year in fantasy with him on my team a couple years ago when he just went nuts. And it really it kills me to say that, but I'm staying away. I think I just got to stay away at this point.
Yeah, I got him a few nights ago. He dropped to 10th, and so I got him there, and it's the only place I have him right now. But same thing, it's like I'm writing something about someone else, and hamstring injuries, there's like a 15% chance that if you've had one, you're going to have it again. Like it's 15% higher chance of re-aggravation. So. And also Sean McVay lies. So it's like, you never know. He's a lying liar. And so he could be talking all this stuff that he's great. And then all of a sudden Cooper Kupp, no, we're not going to play him. And also, are the Rams going to be good this year? So,
I mean, at least he didn't give the Pete Carroll out indefinitely.
Here. This was a good bet. Okay. So I'm going to do that.
You're going to get Herbert. There you go.
I have not
yet
owned Justin Herbert. And that's how I pronounce his name. And then I'm also going to pick this guy who I think is going to have a killer year.
I feel like there is not one coach that tells the truth outside Ron Rivera, and it's because he doesn't realize he's telling the truth half the time.
I know.
I can't wait.
He could be eliminated this week. So let's see. In the middle of the draft, we have Doc. So far you've gone, I would say, pretty balanced. You got 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and then you just grabbed your quarterback. How are you feeling about that start through the first 5 picks?
I think the start is good. Like Tyreek Hill, as I mentioned, very high upside. Garrett Wilson is somebody that I want to get at least 1 share of this year, playing with Aaron Rodgers. He's looked great in the preseason. And Travis Etienne is somebody that I've been warming up to more. I don't think he has the RB1 ceiling that we saw last year. Right after James Robinson got hurt, but I think he could be a high-end RB2. And Kenneth Walker, he had 100% of the goal line carries in games that he was active last year. So I'm not worried about Charbonnet. And Trevor Lawrence, if he does a dump off to Travis Etienne, then You get that stack.
Trevor Lawrence is going to be so good. He's going to be
He
so
is.
good.
Do you know his passing touchdown props for the season is at 26.5? That feels
Really?
low. That feels low.
Super
Super low.
low.
I would take the high.
Yeah.
I think he is that beautiful hair of his is going to power him to an amazing season. I'm all in on Jacksonville, and I never thought I would say those words in my life.
They seem to
Julia-
be an exciting offensive team this year.
I feel like you're this generation's Chris Berman with the nicknames for people. Just an Air Bear.
so many. I have so many. Yeah, they'll get. Let's see if I
It's
can.
the fantasy
grasp the
footballers
people.
rubbing off on
Yeah, I know. This is the problem. I now refer to Cam Akers as Cameron, and people are like, "Who are you talking about?" So that's fun.
Well, the best is Fireball. Was it Fireball Jackson?
Fireball Jones. Yeah, I had to
Fireball
write about
Jones,
Tim
there we go.
Patrick, and I was like, "Crap, what is his name?" Okay, so let's see where I'm at here.
All right. So, Brad, you are on the other end. You're the last pick. So, how is being at the end of a round? So, we already talked about Julia at the beginning. Do you have to change? We lost Brad. When he gets back, we'll ask him. But, Stacy, you
Yeah.
are in the middle. So,
Mhm.
I would say when you're in the middle, you typically don't get caught in runs. You're usually in the middle of a run or you're starting to run.
Yeah.
So do you have a different strategy when you're playing in the middle?
I try to go for value at that point, and it's nice because you can kind of see what the first part of the draft has done, where things are shaking out and where they're going. So I actually typically like the, 8th, 9th, 10th spot a little bit better than I like the first, few spots. Obviously, that means you're not going to get, Jefferson or Chase or, those kind of players. But I just like the variety that I have when I draft towards the end. So that's kind of typically where I like to go. If I have the ability to pick my spot like we did tonight, that's a spot that I like to pick from.
You have a lot of good value at your spot right there. And I agree with you. I think you have choices where it's like when you're at the end, like I was looking at the running backs, I'm like, no, I just don't, there's no one there that I want at all. So that's taken off the table. Yeah, it's nice you have choices.
Stacey, I think you have the best team. I think
really?
I think you've let the draft play to you. I don't think you've reached for anyone. Like everyone where I see that you've got them, I think is really great value. Besides James Conner.
Well, I was going to say, hang
Yes,
on.
for James
I have
Conner,
some
yes.
words about James Conner, but hold on. Let's see what you think after.
Do not besmirch him. Do not besmirch my James Conner.
Do not besmirch James Conner.
Love James Conner as a person, but he's a plodster.
It doesn't matter. He's the only offensive. Oh, he's the only thing we have. He's the only thing we have.
For now, he still could get traded.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, it's a fire sale.
He's the only thing for now, and then they stack 8 in the box every play for somebody that can't break long runs.
Oh my goodness.
I hope I'm wrong. James Conner is a great human being, but
We're crashing for Caleb, bro. Crashing for Caleb.
Oh,
are you a Cardinals fan?
I am. I'm from Arizona.
What do you put up the over under on for their wins this year?
Take the under.
I think right now, isn't it at 3.5 right now?
That sounds right.
Under?
Yeah.
I personally think that Kyler will not play.
Same.
I said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
No
same
doubt.
here. Same here.
I think there is no point in the only reason he would play would be to audition him, and you don't have to audition him because
Exactly.
you still know what he is. He's a great buy in dynasty right now. He's flipping fantastic because nobody's like giving him a thought. I don't hate Clayton Tune. I think he's going to have a really good opportunity to actually show that he has something.
Josh Dobbs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like Clayton Tune. I think there's just
All right.
there's so many joke opportunities there.
Tune up. You got to tune up.
Thank you. Yeah, play that tune. Everything sounds good. All the music.
If he's acting out on the sideline, he's a Looney Tune.
Oh, that's
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll write that down.
Think of all the team names you could use
So I
when you
don't
draft.
love where I'm at right
Tune.
now. I don't love these.
We don't talk enough about how Steve Keim was an awful GM.
Dude. Arizona. Let me do these picks and I can then crash
There's some
on
drama
Arizona.
going on with that. Who just got deposed in that whole thing? And he said he had a burner phone. Like
It was Bidwell.
Thank
That's
you.
never a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
sentence. Who just got deposed?
Yeah.
That wasn't Dan Snyder.
Right.
Wait, Joey, am I supposed to take Samaji here? Let's see what Joey says. It's the 9th. Am I reaching for him?
I don't think it's a reach.
No,
and
not
then
yet.
Joey
I
can't
I
have
just waiting
him.
for Joey to do it because it is on brand if I take him. Let's see. I don't love any. Although, you know what? Oh God, this
Oh,
is.
this
I
is
don't-
what
this is
Joey has
right
to
up-
say to you.
Oh,
That means he wants P
I
Ryan in this round.
hold on. I'm just gonna do it because it is on brand.
Yes.
Perfect. Let me.
And also, I didn't love any of the other wide receivers there.
Yeah, this is kind of the growth zone for wide receivers.
Yeah.
Why I loaded up early.
Yeah, that's
Smart.
how I tend to draft. Like I would rather take receiver early and then go, oh, who took Joseph Wright just took my Zach Charbonnet. That
Joseph
was
Taylor Wright.
uncalled for.
He's been watching your stuff too.
I know this is the problem. I've talked too much about Zach Charbonnet and now it's come back to bite me. Oh goodness. All right. Well,
Yeah.
here we go.
Let me see. Brad, are you there?
I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Cool. Ooh, do we have
Oh,
a special
you're in the
visitor? So
dark.
you're at the end. How is that affecting your picks?
Yeah. So at the beginning, like I tend to love to take the end because you get that turnaround pick, so I can always make sure to get my guys back to back. I'm all about the scarcity, so I'll go, running backs first, and then I'll go tight ends and probably a quarterback. And then you guys like to take wide receivers early. I like to take them late. I think there's a lot of values that can be had at wide receiver. You get less consistency week to week, but the highs can be pretty high, and I think it's worth, taking some risks there at wide receiver. I like a lot of rookie wide receivers this year as well.
Joey.
I like that Addison pick.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to the
Yeah,
stream, Joey.
Thank you,
Joey.
Julia. You know I am here. That you've taken my boy from me and you've made me sad. Good draft, everybody. I just want to say hello real quick. I had to put the kids to bed, but
Hi.
it is looking good. How are you doing, Julia?
I'm good. How are
Stacy.
you?
Hello.
Good. I'm still in Charlotte, Stacy. Just to let you know.
Are you? You're still
I
there?
haven't
Yeah.
left, I'm still here.
Still delayed. Are you in the rocking chairs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
So these beautiful blinds behind me. These are so outdated. You get some new ones.
Great
Everybody doing
background.
good tonight?
We're doing great.
You doing good?
We're
Awesome.
good.
Awesome.
Everyone's
the
good.
dream.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Always blessed to have the mayor come visit us.
Yeah, the mayor. Did you hear I'm now the mayor of Pros with Joe's?
I can't wait to have you in my draft on Saturday.
I'll be in there at some point.
Good.
So I just wanted to say hello, everybody. I got to get back.
Thanks
to
for
the
coming
kids.
in, Joey.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
Bye.
Good to see you,
Take care.
Joey.
Bye.
All right, so Brad, I was definitely waiting on Anthony Richardson there. Since you already have Justin Fields, you don't need
Yeah.
another running back.
Oh,
So
come
yeah,
on.
so now both of your quarterbacks are now your running backs. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So I am now going super late, and I'm just waiting on
Okay.
tight end and quarterback with my build. So that's something for everyone to look at.
Let's see
If you
where
wait
I'm
too
at.
long, especially with auto drafters, not that Brad auto drafted that one. You have no idea what's going to happen, so that is a risk you take. But I still think there's plenty of value in this type of league that I don't mind waiting for my quarterback if I miss out on one of the elites. Do you all feel that way too? If you don't get an elite, I would say maybe a top 5 quarterback. Are you looking to just kind of wait towards the end, or do you like those middle quarterbacks?
I'll touch it.
tend, yeah, I like to go the middle quarterbacks every now and then, especially when there's like a dramatic difference in opinion. Like I love Jordan Love, I love Anthony Richardson, I love Justin Fields, where a lot of other people would not even consider having them.
You
So
love love.
I love. Look at you.
Love
Look
is
at you.
love.
I had to. Let's go this route.
Let me ask everybody, and I know he hasn't been drafted yet. What are your thoughts on Raheem Mostert now that Jeff Wilson is on the IR and Mostert seems to be the only healthy back?
Yeah,
Yep.
he's good for the first drive.
You got to
That's
scotch tape and bubble wrap that man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I mean,
last
he's
year,
gonna
didn't he
be-
have like a massive 70-yard touchdown run and then immediately got hurt in the very
Yeah,
first game?
that's his brand.
Okay.
He's so fast, but everybody forgets because he's hurt all the time.
I'd much rather.
I think he ran track.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
He's
I'd
all
much
did.
rather
It's a
like
requirement
pick
to be on the
a,
Dolphins.
I'd much rather pick like a Kareem Hunt at like the end of a draft where I know he's going to get picked up and get a lot of run than like spend a higher draft pick on Mostert now and like have to worry about him getting injured.
I mean, where is Kareem Hunt going to go? He's turned down offers. He's turned
I
down
know.
like 6
That's
offers.
that's a good sign to me. Like maybe that means he knows he can go to Colts or he knows he can go to Miami. Like he knows wherever he'll go, he'll have a lot of runs.
Because there's gonna be a point where somebody goes, yeah, bro, we ain't gonna pay what you're asking for.
Fair. But I think the delta in like whatever he's asking for and versus like sitting out the entire season is like the chance is pretty low.
He also might sign like in the season when somebody gets hurt and a team would pay him more for 6 to 8 games rather than for the entire season.
That's true.
That's true. Point. Also, I've completely forgotten about Leonard Fournette. He's still out there as well.
Yes, I've been having him a lot in late drafts.
Yeah.
No,
he's taking a lot of hits though. I worry about him.
Nothing.
Not all free agent vets are clamping at the league minimum like Kenyon Drake.
He's still playing.
Just happy to be there.
Oh, just happy. Yeah, just happy to be here, guys. Just gonna clock in.
I'm curious. What do you all think of Zeke Elliott?
I'll let someone else draft him.
I don't think I'll draft a single New England Patriot this year.
Yeah, I hear that.
I mean, I love Ramondre, so that's just. I think he's solid. I think he's gonna still dominate.
I think Zeke might steal a couple touchdowns from Ramondre, but I don't see him being useful other than to frustrate you on Sundays with that every once in a while.
Fair enough. I agree with that.
And Ramondre only had 5 touchdowns last year, rushing touchdowns. But yeah, I think that's all he had. Period, though. Hang on, I'll have to look. I saw that somewhere.
Low key, Patriots might be one of the worst offenses in the league. Low key,
Arizona said, "Hold my beer."
I said one of the worst.
One of the worst.
They could be top 5 as in bottom 5. I'll give them that.
Oh my god. I always say that one of the most Cardinals things that we could do is be the second to worst offense and not get the first pick. Like that would be
as long as Houston's the worst, then you're still okay.
Oh my god, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, we're getting.
All right.
Oh, that Jalen Warren pick is good, Stacy.
You like that? I can't get him anywhere. I've tried so hard to get him, and it is so difficult.
Sometimes it feels like too much of a reach.
Yes.
And it's a good pick. I was thinking about him.
This is my running back zone, though. Like all these guys. Like I love McKinnon, Bigsby, Warren, Harris. Like love this group.
It's a good group.
Ryan. Yeah, love it. Yeah, I was gonna take P. Ryan if you hadn't, Julia. So
Joey would have taken him if
Joey's modified his stance. I've modified my stance. If I get fair to good value on one of my 8 guys, I'm hitting the draft value. Okay.
Bradley, you and I might have to go outside, sir. You just took my Marvin Mims from me, and I gotta tell you, my heart is broken.
I'm so sorry. He might end up being the wide receiver 1 for Denver the entire season.
I agree.
I've been on that man's bandwagon since before the draft. I love Marvin Mims so much, and I take him everywhere that I can.
Talented. He's talented. Great minds think alike.
That's right.
Unrelated, but when is it too early and / when is it right to take your first victory lap?
It's never
after
too
that
early.
touchdown that he had in preseason, I feel like I was taking a pretty big one right there.
Oh god.
I mean, if it's a nobody, no offense to these players, they're all NFL players, and you got something right for week 1, take your victory lap because it's only going to last week 1.
Yeah.
If it's a big name person, I would definitely not do it week 1 because it's only 1 week and you got a
have
whole
to see
season to go.
consistency when it's a big name player. 100%. Oh, seriously? You took my Sam Laporta?
Oh, that's my Sam Laporta. That is
you
my
have
Sam
Dallas
Laporta.
Goddard. Sam Laporta's gonna be so good. Oh, and then Chick goes. Seriously, stupid auto drafters. Sorry, now I have to figure out another tight end option.
There's another really good one there that I really like a lot. That's still available.
How many rounds are we going on this?
Actually,
These are the last 2 rounds.
Okay, so I should actually take a tight end.
I mean, it's sleeper, so you don't have to. We can talk through that where you still have until the week 1 of the season. But I would recommend it just for
shits and giggles.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do that then. Okay. I will go this route. Michael Myers. He's gonna be murder. No, nobody. No one. No? Okay.
Who has the better jawline in Vegas, Michael Mayer or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Oh,
Right?
Jimmy G.
Is that the debate?
that
That's the debate.
is
Yeah.
Jimmy G.
You guys
I
are
love
welcome to
it.
chime in.
I love him so much. He's literally the I'm just happy to be here, bro. I'm getting a killer check.
Right?
I'm a handsome man.
Yeah.
I've got all the ladies. I
He's
don't
in
care.
Vegas.
He's got the
Oh
best
my
life. I
God.
mean, like to be that attractive and to play in the NFL. Like, I really just don't know what else like you could want in life. I don't.
I mean, my husband's
be
a
the
49ers
backup.
fan. Yeah.
All right, so Joey brings up a great point. So he's talking about Dalton Kincaid specifically having a lot of fluctuation, but we're on Sleeper. It really depends on what your draft site is. The ADPs are insane on some of them.
Where's-
ESPN, Yahoo. I've seen some crazy ADPs. So pay attention to
Yeah.
where you're drafting. God, who do I even want at quarterback? This
Wait, what is Dalton Kincaid's ADP? Where am I missing him? Am I
he
old lady
went-
glasses there? What's...
Where?
He went at 10-6.
Oh, I see him. Okay, yeah, I see him.
All right. All right,
I
so
took
we're gonna
so
be
many
streaming
players I've never
quarterbacks.
And
So I'm gonna take Russell Wilson because I took
Wow,
Sutton,
you
and we'll
know,
just- and
you
I
don't have to.
Devontae
You don't have to
Williams.
do that, Zach. You don't have to do it.
It's 1 week. If he looks decent, we keep him. If he looks terrible, we throw him back. There's other options.
speaking of the Cardinals, you know who I haven't thought of the entire year? Zach Ertz.
That's 'cause he
Yeah, there's
just
a reason. Well,
Came
yeah.
back healthy.
You think it's going to be a factor?
He's a super good value. I think he's more of a factor if it is like Clayton Tune, because I think just
Yeah.
that rookie quarterback to a tight end sort of situation. Look, like you're not going to need to draft Zach Ertz. He's somebody you could easily pick up, and
Fair.
yeah, I mean, I think when you get to that point with your tight ends, you're throwing darts and throwing stuff against the wall and just seeing what sticks, right? So he's definitely worth seeing if he sticks. That's such a nice thing to say about a football player.
I think the biggest news right now is his wife Julia Ertz retiring from an amazing
Yes.
soccer career.
Yeah.
Like, she's crushing it more than Zach is. No offense. to
That
Zach,
is a
but-
fit couple right there. I love it when you see NFL players and their wives were like college athletes too. We always play this game, like me and my husband, when we like see the player and we're like, what did their wife do? Are they a soccer player? Were they, softball, all that sort of
I
stuff.
think Darren Waller just married Kelsey Plum.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
Yeah. And then like the next day he got traded. Like that's like right that timeline.
Yeah.
Just think who we might be drafting in like 20 to 25 years when we're still playing fantasy football, and
That kid's
We
going to
get-
be 8 feet tall.
We're
get the
drafting
picks.
all their
God,
kids.
it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
see, we only have to wait another year or two for Frank Gore Jr., but we got like
I know. That's
20
crazy.
years for
Insane.
the Ertzes and the Wallers.
Who is in the draft? Or no, there's somebody that Alabama. Oh, yeah, Alabama just got a commitment from a corner that was in the draft, like their son, like from I don't know, like 2017 or something.
Wow.
Like he had kids when he was
gosh.
16. That's nuts.
Joey.
I didn't think we'd see a junior so early. Kelsey.
Joey's got a crush.
All right. So Julia, you have a home league coming up with the 101. How did you feel this one? Do you like your strategy? What was your strategy? I guess is the first question.
I
you
mean,
have one?
I wanted to get, if I wasn't going to get one of those top tier quarterbacks, which I would have had to take with my second pick, I wanted to get that next cluster. Excuse me, that Air Bear cluster. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is like the last one in that cluster for me, Justin Fields, all that sort of stuff. And kind of build around that. I think I have a much better idea of where I'm going to have to reach a little bit more. It's kind of nice to know that you're like, oh, I can reach a little bit more because of where I am in the draft versus like when you're in the middle and you're like, oh, I'm going to play and see if they'll come back to me.
You have to get your guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have to 100%. I actually like this team, which means I'll get nothing like this in an actual draft. Right?
No, absolutely. But it's important because you and Brad are both on the ends. Like you said,
Yeah.
if there's a guy that you like, even if it feels like you're reaching around or even around and a
Yeah.
half, You have to, because you're waiting 2 rounds basically until they come back around.
If anything, you might be starting a run, right? Like if, and that in a way could be to your advantage as well if you kind of are thinking about where you want to go next. So,
and then Stacy, you said you prefer normally drafting a little towards the later. You're a little bit on the middle. Everyone's been saying how you have the best team. So how did you feel about your draft? Did you have a specific strategy that you went in, and how did you execute it?
So usually I'm very heavy receiver right off the bat, but Bijan was there, and I don't actually have a ton of Bijan because surprisingly he doesn't usually last this long. So I thought, you know what, value, I'm going to grab him. Yeah, that's yes, thank you. Who did that? That's usually me, and I'm usually that one who does that. So high five. That was lovely.
I was waiting for Stacy to set herself up.
Yeah, which I do very frequently. But yeah, so and then Amon-Ra St. Brown honestly is like my guy this year. Like I loved him last year, love him this year. Was planning on taking him in the first round, which is kind of why I picked this spot too. But then when Bijan fell, I was like, and the way things were going with the auto drafts, I thought, I can probably get Bijan on the turn. So that's why I waited on him. And then, Hurts, I like getting an elite quarterback when I can and it makes sense. But I'm not afraid to push it either. But Julia, I think I'm right with you. Like, T-Law is kind of that end of that, next tier if you're gonna wait and kind of get like that, like elite adjacent, guy.
Elite adjacent. I like that. That's a good term.
Guy.
I like
Thank
that.
you. I had definitely borrowed that from a friend of mine. And so I love Hurts though. He's, if out of the 3, honestly, I kind of like Hurts a little bit better. When I say 3, I mean Allen, Mahomes, and Hurts, those guys. But yeah, and then my plan was just kind of, fill out according to value there and, grab some guys. I've been having a lot of trouble getting Keenan Allen, so I kind of targeted him there. And, I don't care that James Conner plays for a crappy team, but I think he's the only one there. And I like him and the value you can get for him.
There's still value in playing for a crappy team.
Garbage time points count just as much as, anything else does. So I don't care. Give me James Conner all the time. And fun little fact, if you are doing a best ball draft, he's a nice correlation to go with a Philly stack because they play in week 17. So that's a fun little thing to do.
God, we're going to get murdered.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely.
We're going to get murdered by the 3rd string Philadelphia Eagles before they
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All day. But still again, garbage time points. Yeah. So so that's a fun thing to do. And then I had to take Jahan Dotson because again, like just another receiver that is I think going to be phenomenal this year, especially with, Scary Terry having that turf toe issue. Not really sure what's going to be going on with him and how long that might keep him out if it does at all. But honestly, and I was at a draft tournament this weekend and Jahan Dotson was going in the 5th round, guys. Like 5th round Jahan Dotson.
That's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I think the wide receiver 1 there. And I think Sam Howell is way better than people think Sam Howell is. And I think that the Commanders might be good. So yeah.
Doubt it.
If you wanted him, you had to get him in the 5th round. And like my Marvin Mims that I was talking about, he was going in the 9th. So holy guacamole, Batman.
Well, that just shows you how every league's different. Because in my home league, I got Jahan Dotson at pick 80.
Oh man.
Yeah, I got him super late in my home league too. Yeah.
That's like summertime Jahan Dotson value right there.
Yeah, no, it was great. I loved it. But yeah, you just never know how you're so the more you play in your league, it does help you to know who you're drafting with and what their tendencies are. If you're in a brand new league, you're definitely at a bit of a disadvantage. So pay attention for next year as well. I would say some good advice. But speaking of advice, I'm going to go around the room. We'll start with Doc. Can you give me like one good piece of advice? You've done a lot of drafting in your time. What's some advice to help our viewers out to get them ready for this weekend for their real draft? One piece of advice.
Don't be a follower and zig when others zag. If you've seen a run on running backs, don't be afraid to take a wide receiver that you think has more value because you can trade for running backs. You can pick them up in free agency and vice versa. I've felt like that strategy has helped me out because I let the draft fall to me rather than following trends.
All right. I love it. Stacy, what's your one piece of advice for drafters this weekend?
So mine is going to be from a piece of advice that I got from a good friend of mine, Jay Reed, and he has talked to me about defensive drafting. So if you're in your home league and you are drafting with people that you've known that you've been drafting with forever, this is something that you can kind of use to get an advantage on your league mates, right? If you know that somebody, can't leave a draft without, I don't know, let's just say Patrick Mahomes, right? They're the biggest Chiefs fan in the world, right? Maybe you snipe him beforehand if it makes sense on your team. Something like that, just kind of knowing who you're drafting with and knowing their tendencies. Obviously you got to make it make sense for your team too. You can't just be in there to cause chaos and, make everything, miserable for everybody else. But kind of being aware and looking at the board and saying, okay, maybe where I'm at, right, in the 8th, and maybe the last 3 teams haven't taken a quarterback yet and it's getting pretty late, right? Maybe I take my second quarterback there just to kind of suck up that value from the room to force somebody else to have to get something a little bit lower. So, just kind of being aware of what's going on and how everybody else is building their team. So if you can do that in addition to putting together your own thing, I think you definitely have a huge advantage.
Perfect. Before we get to Julie, I'm going to read Joey's comment for those of you who can't see on the screen. He said, if you are stuck between 2 players and truly cannot decide, take the one your friend likes the best. There's nothing better than being cursed at during a draft by someone you love, which is true.
Very true.
I was in a mock draft last night. It was literally just a mock. But it was with a bunch of industry people, a lot of friendly people, a lot of fun. And I took a player. I don't even remember it might have been like the 10th round. Like, it was pretty late in the draft, and 3 people were then in the comments like, "Come on," or cursing or whatever. And there's nothing better. It was a mock draft, and the excitement of me just being like, "Oh, sorry guys," like, glad to piss you off. Like, it was great. It was a mock draft. So in the real thing, when you can really make someone mad when you snipe them, it's the best.
Yeah.
So Julia, what's your one piece of advice to help someone this weekend?
Well, I think it's kind of like what we were talking about with the ADP stuff, right? So whatever platform you're on, I think it's important to you do a scroll through, the first, few rounds are going to be relatively the same. But like when you start to get into the 8th round, a little bit further, start scrolling through, whether you're on your phone, your computer, whatever, find those later round people and star them, mark them, whatever, because sometimes you'll almost forget about, let's say, a Dalton Kincaid or whatever. And then you're like, oh, I needed to scroll down another page and he's there. And because you're automatically assuming he's going to be gone because he should have been gone. So I think it's just kind of refamiliarizing yourself with whatever platform it is. I think that goes along with the rules of the league too. Just reminding yourself, are we wide receiver heavy here? Are we PPR here? What am I going, just a refresher. But yeah, I like to star my later round guys just so I almost remember them, because there's always people you want to keep,
Absolutely. Yeah. Love it. And Brad, what is your one piece of advice to help someone this weekend crush their draft?
Yeah, for me, scarcity on the waiver wire is one of the most important things in drafting for me. And one of the hardest things I find during the season is finding a running back on the waiver wire is too hard. So for me, I try to draft as many running backs as I can, as many good ones, many ones that I feel starting, during a week, as opposed to just handcuffs. So I like to go running backs early, and whenever I find a place where I like my team or somebody's falling, I pick that running back up. So worst comes to worst and you have some holes in your roster, you can always trade one of those running backs that you've overdrafted for, a wide receiver or a tight end later in the season. So definitely taking into consideration scarcity value.
Perfect. Joey loves it. So you got the Joey approval. That's all that really matters.
My man, the mayor.
There you go. And I'm going to tag along a little bit to what Julia said at the end there. Know your league settings, know the rules, know the scoring, know what the roster configuration is. All of that will help you kind of strategize, even if you have no strategy. You'll be shocked at how many people in your league don't pay attention to some of those little scoring settings or the roster settings, and you can get an edge. So we just did a mock with 2 wide receivers. If you have 3 wide receivers and maybe 2 flex spots, that means you can start 5 wide receivers every week. So it's not a bad idea to load up on wide receivers and just make that the strength and punt running back. Maybe you go hero RB because you know that you are maximizing your strength at wide receiver. and that's an advantage over the rest of the league. So it's those little things that make a big difference that you would think is common sense, but I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh, I didn't realize we were in Superflex, or I didn't realize this was PPR, or
Didn't realize we were super flex.
I didn't know we had a short bench or we had a long bench. All of those things should impact how you make decisions of when you take certain players and when you go a little riskier or when you go a little safer, go for ceiling, go for floor. All of that makes a difference if you're truly drafting for the right team of maximizing your value. So just something to think about. And then you made me think of something, Brad, handcuffs. Stacy, how do you feel about, are you a proponent of taking your own handcuff or taking someone else's?
I'm not a big handcuff girl, but I do.
That's what she said.
That is what she said.
We were waiting for it. We're like,
I couldn't say it again.
Oh, you just set me right up. It was just right on the T there.
I was gonna say TMI.
Look, I just felt like we were friends in this room, and I could share that with you guys.
Hey, as Brad said, love is love.
Yeah,
Love is love.
it's a judgment-free zone. That's a little now. I'm blushing. Hang on.
Lost word. Sorry.
No. I don't typically love taking my own handcuff, and unless it's like a huge value, or for example, right before we knew how everything was going to shake out with Josh Jacobs, I was happy to take Zamir White, further down if I roll the dice on Jacobs just in case, because that wasn't like an injury situation. That was a contract situation, which I think is a little bit different. In that situation, I felt okay taking from the same team. Normally, I'm probably going to take a handcuff from somebody else's team, depending on who it is. If it's a guy that's actually going to play, in a situation where, somebody's, even if they're not hurt, great. Like a Jaylen Warren, for example, right? He's going to get playing time even when Najee on the field, okay? Somebody who may not get as much playing time, let's say like Keontae Ingram, right? If you take James Conner, that's a guy that I may not really, Joey, I see your thing. I can't even look at it right now because I'm going to laugh. But that's kind of, my thought process on handcuffs, at least anyway. So I think it has to make sense for you. It has to make sense for your team. But I'm not actively out there trying to grab a handcuff, on purpose. So
Don't overdraft and handcuff too.
thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. For me, I think I play to win my league because there's only one winner, and I'd much rather have someone else's handcuff, and then hopefully we don't root for injuries. If their RB1 gets hurt, well, now I have an extra RB1 on my team, or RB2. Whereas if my RB1 gets hurt, my handcuff's still not really replacing my RB1. Like, I'm still in a negative position.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really help me having my handcuff unless we're getting closer to the playoffs. Then by all means, cover all of your starters as much as you can to protect yourself as you go into the playoffs, and you're in the playoffs. But in the actual draft, I'd rather take someone else's handcuff and get that value.
Also, you get super stuck. Like if you draft someone's handcuff, your handcuff, right? You ain't dropping either one of those guys. You're stuck.
Yeah.
You are mentally stuck because if
As soon as you drop them.
Exactly. If your running back one does go down and you're using your handcuff, you're not going to drop your running back one. There's no guarantee that he's going on IR. So you do, are you just clogging a roster spot holding two people? So you can't. Yeah. I'm like Stacy. I try to get someone else's. That's fun.
No, that's a great point too. I mean, you've kind of wasted a roster spot at that point when you could take somebody who's actually going to contribute to your team. I just think of like Tyler Algier in that situation. Like if I had taken him with having Bijan, I know they're so hard to predict with what they're going to do in Atlanta because whatever they do, it's not going to make sense. But that's not somebody who I would actually be going to get just because I think it's kind of a waste then at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I think in that situation, if you didn't have Bijan, you would just take Tyler Algier later down.
Yeah, exactly.
The road, like with a much later pick and start him with his own value. Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly.
And I love Algier late, but I would never take Algier if I had Bijan.
No,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So are there any, we're getting close to 45 minutes. So I appreciate everybody coming on. Are there any final thoughts, after we've gone through this exercise, we've talked through some strategy. I know you guys got some drafts still coming up. Anything pop up that you want to discuss real quick or talk about? Are you good?
Be nice to your commissioners.
There you go.
Love it.
Pay
Pay your
league
dues on
fee.
time. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
really.
you. Follow
Don't make
directions
them after you.
Check your
Yes.
team even when you're eliminated.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Don't be that guy.
Be
Or a girl.
active. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantasy should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Joey.
Oh, well,
No,
I got to throw compliments up from Joey.
Joey.
So
Aw.
we appreciate it, Joey. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for being in the mock. Always a good time with the mayor joining us on the podcast or the show. So with that, I can't believe we are now a week away. So if you guys are watching this live, it's Thursday night. If you're not watching it live, it's Thursday night. So we are a week away from Thursday Night Football.
Oh my God, it's happening. Finally, we'll have more things to talk about. We'll have new things to talk about. Oh God.
Don't worry, it's still gonna be
No more training camp videos.
I know.
Yes, finally.
Oh my God.
I know how we're all complaining about this. It's gonna be the exact same thing, just with real
I
football.
know. I know.
Yeah.
And that
Same thing,
MVS
just real football.
touchdown
Yeah.
game, right?
Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah. Who's the Sammy Watkins of week one?
That's
We'll see.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys coming on. It's been a lot of fun. Good luck to anybody drafting still. We got a week to go. There's still tons of drafts out there. I mean, some people want to wait. They say, I know. Who was it? Matt Harmon was joking. This is why I wait till Christmas Eve to do his drafts. Because of people like Cooper Kupp getting hurt. So I know some people like to wait till the last minute. They're drafting Thursday night right before the game. So good luck out there. We're still around, all of us. You can reach out to us on Twitter. Comment here on YouTube. We'll answer your questions. If you have any last minute questions, we're here to help you. We want to see you win. It's just like we want to win too. But make sure you subscribe to Triple Play Fantasy. We got lots of content coming out. Baseball season's coming close to an end, but basketball's right around the corner. We already got that stuff coming out. So that's why we're Triple Play Fantasy. We got you covered with every sport. So thank you all for coming on tonight. We appreciate it. And good luck out there.